My name is Victoria Mlonganile Nongwa. I'm Judge of the High Court of Tanzania. I will be taking you through Chapter 1 on Registry Management. Types and identification of case registers. The case registry is an important unit of any court in which the case is registered. Every detail and documentation regarding to the case filed and registered has to be kept in the relevant register. The registration of case in the register are no longer manual, but rather electronic. It is now a legal requirement to maintain an electronic case register. Electronic case registers are therefore in place following the introduction of electronic filing rules and procedures together with the Judicial Statistical Dashboard System, commonly known as JSDS. However, JSDS has now been replaced by the ECMS, Electronic Case Management System, and Data Hub for both management of cases through e-filing, e-admission, e-assignment and reassignment, case hearing, judgment delivery, and publication, including statistics components on the other hand. Dear participant, it is a requirement of the law for each magistrate's court to keep and maintain register or registers of all the case proceedings. Types of entries in a case register. Dear participant, the entries in the case register should be monitored and carefully kept. The case entry becomes important, especially when the case is admitted and fees deposited in the judiciary account or is properly exempted under the law or by the order of His Lordship Chief Justice. The following are examples of types of entries in the register. Details of the case admission, details of payment of case fees through control number receipt with the relevant case number or reference number in that regard, details of case registration, details of case assignment to a trial judicial officer, also details of case tracking like its formation, pre-trial orders, or judgment stage. Also, details on the entries of court orders and verdict of the case. You should be aware that if parties intend to appeal, entries should be made to that effect as to when the file is called by the appellate court or revision court and when it is brought back. All these entries should be performed in the registers. Electronic registers and their management. Dear participant, as previously discussed about manual registers with their corresponding electronic register, since there is an electronic filing system which has been established by the Judiciary of Tanzania, the manual registers appears to have been replaced by electronic registers. The electronic filing system has two types of users. These are external and internal users. Let's now talk about the external users. The actors in this part are stakeholders who includes state attorneys, advocates, and other litigants who have access to the electronic filing system as external users. Also, bench officers, on the other hand, communicate with them through the system. The external user may access electronic register through logging in the e-case management system. The requirement for external user login is provided under the Judicature and Application of Laws, Electronic Filing Rules of 2018, GN number 148, particularly under Rule 29, Sub-Rule 1. The steps to follow when in the eCMS system as an external user is provided in the eCMS user manual. Internal users. When the request for admission is made by an external user, the system will prompt internal users like the appropriate admission officer, registrar, or magistrate in charge, indicating that there is a notification for a new case for admission. The admission officer will have to view the request by logging into the electronic case management system. Filing of cases generally, processes and procedure. Dear participant, in implementing the principle of transparency and accountability, processes and procedures involved in filing cases must be open and uniform in all courts levels. There are important steps to be followed in filing cases both at the High Court and in the subordinate courts. Admission, rejection of cases, and remedies. Dear participants, you may bear in mind that before a case is admitted, a bench officer has a duty to scrutinize the documents for the purpose of ascertaining its authenticity and correctness, to satisfy himself or herself on legal compliance, to avoid unnecessary rejections of documents. The documents could be scrutinized. You need to know that the assignment of cases at all levels of the courts are regulated by the directives of His Lordship, the Chief Justice, the law, and decided cases. Returns and statistics. You should be aware that Section 11, subsection 3 of the Magistrates Courts Act, Cap 11, revised edition 2022, requires magistrates courts to submit annual returns of the cases to the registrar of the High Court. On the other hand, the district courts and courts of resident magistrates file returns to the High Court in their respective sub-registries, with these copies to the registrar of the High Court. The High Court file returns to the Court of Appeal and copies to the registrar of the High Court. The returns in subordinate courts should clearly show the summary of what transpired in each case at every court level. Filing of documents in a case file. Formally, pleadings and any other document initiating a case or proceedings was being filed in the manual case file on the left side, and the subsequent documents were being filed in the right side. With digital case file, currently, documents and pleadings that initiate proceedings of a case are being filed in the documents window in the e-case management system, while all other subsequent documents are being filed in a subsequent document window in the e-case management system. Handling of case files. Should be noted that files shall be sorted out and kept in according to the desired next action or step. So keeping files should be aimed at easing retrieval when needed. Transfer of cases from one court to another. Dear participant, the transfer of cases for various actions from one court to the other has to be managed properly. The order to transfer has to be entered in the case register or case management system, and it should be removed from the number of pending cases from the court which transferred to the receiving court, with the acknowledgement to receive the transferred case file by the receiving court. The receiving court now has to assign a new case number in the reference to the case so transferred, and the same will be registered in the system and data hub. Service of process. The responsible officer or bench officer should subject the case file to the court process, in which a court process server has to be assigned for the process. The service of the process by the court process server has to be indicated in a register for accountability. And after the service process, the court process server has to file an affidavit as proof of the assignment he was given that he has done the service. Certificate of urgency. Dear participants, sometimes cases are filed together with the certificate of urgency. So insofar as the certificate of urgency is concerned, for the High Court, the Deputy Registrar will submit the certificate of urgency or the certificate document to the judge in charge for verification and assignment to the trial judge. For subordinate courts, the magistrate in charge of the station who examines the certificates. Court orders. Dear participants, the following are the roles of bench officers in respect of court orders. The bench officer in charge shall ensure orders in respect of certificate of urgency are prepared, typed, and accordingly supplied to the parties. The trial judicial officer has a duty to proofread the order, sign it before the same is supplied to the parties. And every Friday shall be a special day for making follow-up of court orders, instructions, notices, summonses, arrest warrants, and attachment orders for the previous week, as per paragraph 8 of the Chief Justice Circular number 4 of 2018. And you need to know that the bench officer has to make a follow-up of court orders for execution with a view of avoiding unnecessary delays which can cause complaints against the judiciary. Registry procedures, general principles. Dear participant, there are general principles to be followed and consistently maintained in the registry. The following are principles and values in the registry. 1. Respect. 2. Courtesy. 3. Integrity. And 4. Teamwork. Apart from these values and principles, there are other mechanisms that are used in checking the quality of services in the registry. These includes customer care desks. Dear participant, the values and principles are also enhanced by a number of systems of operations. Management and control of exhibits. The registry management assistant in assisting a judicial officer during court proceedings should receive and mark all the exhibits produced in evidence. The exhibit has to be scanned and accordingly uploaded in the eCMS system to form part of the proceedings of a case, able to be retrieved in a digital case file. For backup, the received or tendered exhibit should be registered in the exhibit register, which is maintained by the registry at every court level. Management of cases under extended jurisdiction. Dear participants, the powers of resident magistrate with the extended jurisdiction are provided under a number of instruments. Common mistakes related to extended jurisdiction. There are common mistakes in dealing with the cases that are supposed to be tried by magistrates with the extended jurisdiction, and main reasons are being improper transfer orders, magistrates sitting in wrong courts, delays in extracting decrees and orders, application of CPC in proceedings relating to land cases, improperly dismissing or striking out cases on the ground of limitation of time. You should also read the cases which emphasizes on common mistakes committed by magistrates with the extended jurisdiction.